All right, now you wanted a car review? I'll give you a car review. I'll be right with you guys. It's hot. Beast mode. Saw this at the Dollar Tree once or twice before. I had it in my hand, never picked it up. This time I took a closer look at it, and what sold me is basically the cast. We have star of Attack of the Killer Donuts, C. Thomas Howell, the legendary C. Thomas Howell. We have Ray Wise. Love Ray Wise. One of the henchmen from RoboCop. I mean, he was, great career, great actor. The legendary James Hong, still with us. I mean, my gosh, this guy, still going. You're talking about Chinatown, Blade Runner, Seinfeld, Big Trouble in Little China, of course, naturally. He actually wrote, and I don't know about wrote, but he directed a film too. I think it's called, it's like about the Fountain of Youth or something. It was on Netflix for a while. I think I owe it to that man to watch his movie one of these days. Anyway, also James Duval's in this. Okay, so this is supposed to be like, after accidentally killing his lead star, a has-been Hollywood producer, that's C. Thomas Howell, turns to an ancient herbal elixir in the hopes that it will save his career. He makes a dark deal that unleashes a band of bloodthirsty, shape-shifting, ferocious beasts on L.A. Okay, so this is supposed to be what they're trying to do here. They're trying to skewer the fame culture of L.A. They're trying to also do that with a gross-out horror comedy. And basically, a lot of it doesn't work. The beginning part, which takes place in like a South American jungle, actually looks good. And there's some shots of the city skyline that look really good. Whoever was, there's some really good shots in this movie. The problem is with the plot. It kind of goes all over the place. The plot and the tone. Okay. You have like the description says, the producer actually runs over his star, who's this petulant jerk off, who's always getting in the tabloids. You've got a tabloid reporter, this giant blobby guy who's trying to always dig up dirt on him, and you've got producers screaming at the C. Thomas Howell character about deadlines and things. Everybody screams at each other in this movie. Everybody's a character. Everybody's over the top. Everybody yells at each other. I prefer like more subtle humor, like Office Space kind of humor, you know what I mean? And basically, he gets a hold of this elixir to like reanimate the dead star, but then also at the same time they find out that there's a guy that looks just like him, except he's got some scars, which they fix with the cream. So he uses the cream to fix the guy. Then he has to train him to act like the star, and there's a private detective that's trying to figure out what's going on. It's just goofy. The plot goes in a lot of different ways. There's these like two cops that have like 3 scenes, and they're total goofballs just because. I don't know. It's almost like a farce. I would describe it as like the later seasons of Three's Company with Ralph Furley, Don Knotts. It's that farcical, and just in case you didn't get it, they have this soundtrack, which is like doo, 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 like constantly like telling you how you're supposed to feel. I don't fault anybody in the movie. It's just the tone of the film. C. Thomas Howell is good. He's lots of exaggerated facial expressions, and he's the main star. By the time you get to Ray Wise, he has like a bit part. James Hong has a pretty funny part. The sequence with James Hong is pretty funny. It's kind of like a Weekend at Bernie's scene, if you know what I'm saying. And he's good. I don't know. It's just goofy. There's a couple really gross scenes. By the way, the final result is if you take a lot of this elixir, when the witching hour comes at midnight, you turn into this goblin. It looked okay. It reminds me of John Goblikon from the band Necro Goblikon. If there's like one person in the world that might know what I'm talking about. But that guy's green. These guys are like bluish or something. So by the end of the movie, there's a bunch of them. And yeah, see, like another actor pops in for the sole reason of becoming another one of these creatures. He pops in, yells at the producer, goes into his bathroom, puts the cream all over him and in his pants even. Like, you would do that? Okay, whatever. And then he turns into one of these. And then there's some other people that they're not full-blown creatures until midnight. And it's 89 minutes long, and it was the last half hour, it was a hard slog, to be honest with you. The gross out stuff wasn't consistent enough. The goofiness just overtook it. It looks like they had a good time making it. There's some outtakes at the end. There's a scene where Ray Wise he's got 2 or 3 really good lines. I mean, but he's right. He nails it, and then at the end, it's like a stream of consciousness, and then he goes, and there's a plane flying overhead, because I guess a plane interrupted the shot, and everyone cracks up. It looked like they had a good time making this film. It just was a misfire for me. There you go. Okay, I don't want to leave on a bad note. I picked this up from the Dollar Tree. Blood, Sweat, and Terrors. Threw me off. I came home from work. I threw it in. I just grabbed one and threw it in. Started, and then all of a sudden a different title came up. I was like, what the heck? It was actually the title of the second segment. This is an anthology of martial arts / horror films. Okay, it's actually pretty interesting. It's kind of fun. I didn't finish it. It's that kind of movie where you can throw it on for a while and then throw it back in. There you go, if you want to read that. So I believe it's French-Canadian. Some of it's in French, some of it's in English, and there's a few other languages. I believe they just collected a bunch of martial artists together, and some of them may speak, Thai or what have you. But they're pretty wild. The stories are pretty wild. The first one is about a guy who basically sold his soul to these creatures. It's very Lovecraftian, inspired by Hellraiser a little bit. Got some really cool makeup effects. He busts in and has this crazy fight with all these people, and when he leans up against the wall to take a breather, there's a woman who does not look too well, and they just kind of make small talk, and then he goes back to killing everybody. Well, it turns out the next time you see her, the reason that she didn't look too well is she's dead, and now she looks worse. She's got stitches all over her face. There's this other creature, kind of, like a Lovecraftian type creature with tentacle hands, and and basically I guess he has sold his soul to them or something. Then there's one about a guy who's sort of like hallucinating while he's beating up a bunch of people, and at one point he actually uses a booger as a weapon. Yep, he flings a booger at someone and propels them backwards. And one of the other ones is about 2 female soldiers having in whatever future war, having some a conversation about something that's kind of would normally be very private and personal while they're being assaulted by like some enemy squad of soldiers. And that one fell a little bit flat overall, to be honest with you, but it was kind of funny in parts, I guess. And I haven't really watched the rest of them. It seems pretty creative, so this one seems pretty fun. Also, real quick, Deadheading. If you want to see, I've mentioned this before, I think. If you want to see a review of this, the Charles Cochran channel has a review of that. If you want to see a review of The Houses of October Built 2, which I mentioned in a video that hasn't been out yet, so that doesn't make any sense. Hobbs Horror did a review of that. And as long as we're talking about anthologies, a long time ago I mentioned this film, and I'm still seeing it at the dollar store, and I'm still seeing people pick it up. So if you pick up a bunch of movies, and you're like, I don't know about this Beast Mode movie, but you got this one, watch this one. This is a very good anthology. So, recommend Beast Mode, not so much. Later.